Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 178 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sam.
Here's what's coming up in today's show. In our Noteworthy segment, in a surprising turn of events, after a statement released by the National Dairy Farmers Association, many dairy farmers are admitting that oat milk is a superior product. They're giving up dairy farming and replacing it with oat farming. We put out the call to some of our local dairy farmers, and many of them called us back with testimonials, and we'll play those calls for you so you can hear their reactions.
This really is an incredible development.
It is. It's amazing. We need some good news like this.
We really, really do.
Yeah.
Then, in our main topic, we ask, is Mexico becoming a haven for animal rights protections? We'll take a look at some recent legislative changes in Mexico that spell good news for non-human animals.
But before we get into all that, what have we been up to?
Well, it's been a busy week.
It has.
For me, anyway.
For you. For you. For me, not so much.
Right. So it's been a busy week, but it's been a really good week.
Yeah. So I don't know if you listened to last week's episode. We were talking about joining the gym, which we did.
We did.
And we've been going.
We have.
Religiously. Funny thing, if you heard our little deal that we made with ourselves, that if we go to the gym 20 days out of each month, we can reward ourselves by going to Wurlitzer Pizza in Tonawanda and getting some vegan pizza.
Well, here's the irony.
There is some irony involved.
We've discovered that our gym is immediately adjacent to a Domino's Pizza.
It most certainly is.
And so if you go to the gym during the lunch rush or the dinner rush, the gym smells like pizza.
Yes, the smell of pizza wafts into the gym. So we're like on the stationary bikes and we're like pedaling towards the pizza.
We're biking towards the pizza. Yes, we're biking towards the pizza.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's incentive or I don't know.
It was pretty funny regardless.
It was ironic.
Now, yesterday, on the other hand, we were there at about, I don't know, maybe 2:30 in the afternoon, something like that. And there was no pizza smell.
There was not.
No.
There was not.
No pizza smell whatsoever. So I really do think it's based on when Domino's is doing the most business.
The busiest. Yeah.
So again, that kind of lunch time, maybe between like 11 and 1 and then between like 5 and 7. Yeah. Yeah, that's
it
where
is
you
funny,
get pizza
though,
smell.
that there's a pizza shop right next to the gym.
It is pretty funny.
There's another place where there's what is it, Curves or a Weight Watchers or something right next to an ice cream shop.
Yeah, that's just nuts.
It's like
that's just nuts.
They didn't plan that out very well.
No, not really.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I am proud of us for what we have done.
We're sticking to it.
We are. We're doing really well.
We are.
Yes. And, we have different concepts of like when it's best to go to the gym. Christine would prefer to go early in the morning.
I like to go in the morning, but I don't mind going in, whenever you can go because it's fun to go together.
It's definitely more fun to go together. Absolutely. Yeah. And actually, I don't think either of us has gone on our own yet.
No, we haven't.
No. So anyway, we've been doing some really good things. And yesterday, I think I was phenomenally proud of myself. I biked 13 miles.
Yeah, Sam went 13 miles. I went half an hour on the bike, and then I got off to do some weight work. And I kept glancing over, and there's Sam pedaling her little heart out on that bike, and she just pedaled for like 45 minutes.
No, it was actually 50.
Was it 50 minutes?
It was a full 50 minutes.
One cool thing, though, at our gym, it's a Planet Fitness. If you've been to a Planet Fitness, they have a spa section. So after we work out, the cool thing is that we can go and get like a hydro massage or use the massage chair. And I think it really helps with the soreness afterwards factor.
Oh, my gosh.
Because I haven't really been, I've had, you can tell you've worked some muscles and stuff.
Sure.
But not like the get up and wow, my legs hurt really bad when I walk or any of that. So I think that getting a massage after is really helping with that.
And to be completely honest, like I could not go work out at all, and just getting that hydro massage every day would be worth the membership price.
It's really cool.
It's so great.
It's like a massage chair, but it's just like a chaise chair that you lay in, and these warm jets of water shoot up and massage you up and down and up and down, and it goes for
so great.
10 minutes. And you can adjust, the intensity of it and all that jazz, but it's really fun.
Yeah, I always get a little bit sad when I feel the pressure start to decrease.
Yeah, that it's ending.
Yeah, because I put it all the way up to 10.
Yeah.
And so I get a little sad when it starts to decrease. I'm just like, oh no, I don't want it to be over.
No, it's really nice. It's a really nice massage.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
And the heat is really nice. So I think it really is helping with like muscle recovery.
Yeah, I think so too.
So that's cool. So yeah, I'm also proud of us for doing that. On our outline, I have eating down the fridge.
Yes.
So I don't know if you do this, but when it gets to a certain point, I want to make sure that we've eaten everything and try not to waste any food.
Yep.
So I've been making like eat down the fridge meals for the last week. Like yesterday we had eat down the fridge tacos.
Yeah, we did.
And it was potatoes and cauliflower and quinoa. And then I had some leftover
Napa cabbage
that I chopped up and made I put a little bit of white wine vinegar and a little maple syrup and a little salt and, just to make it a little pickly, put that on top with some radishes, and they were really good.
They were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really good. You made a really nice kind of herby crema there too.
Yeah. I make that with some vegan yogurt, some coconut yogurt, and just add herbs to it and a little bit of salt.
Yeah, it was super yummy.
Yeah. So, I like eating down the fridge.
And so what are we having tonight?
I don't know.
Eating down the fridge.
It's slim pickings at this point.
Okay.
So
that's all right.
I don't know what we're going to have.
All right.
So
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll report back on that. But the reason why we're really eating down the fridge, aside from not wanting to waste food, which is always a good thing, is I'm trying to wait until next month to do another grocery shop. And I just wondered, like, how often do people grocery shop? I usually do it once a week. And then sometimes in the middle of the week, I discover there's other things we need. So,
right.
I might do a smaller one. So maybe 5 times a month?
Maybe. I mean, every now and again, Christine will ask me to pick something up on my way home from work.
Yeah.
If she's making a meal and figured out that she's missing something.
Right.
So Christine does the vast majority of our grocery shopping, but I supplement that every now and again. So I would say somewhere between 4 and 6 grocery shops per month would be accurate for us.
Yeah. But we've been watching a lot of budgeting shows.
We have.
Like money budgeting.
It's been super fun.
And so it's really making me think about, how much I'm spending, because one of our major expenses is food.
Yeah.
And I love to grocery shop. And I think a lot of vegans do, because, we like to make different and fun things just to make our food more fun, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, I don't know, maybe plan the meals more, so I'm not just willy-nilly, let's buy this, and then I have to hurry up and figure out a way to use it before it goes bad, and stuff like that. So, well,
maybe we should start taking some time now that, okay, sure, April is going to be a little bit nutty, but after that, things calm down and I kind of go into summer mode, which is great. So maybe we could start we'll decide what day that we want to do the grocery shop.
Right.
And then the day before, let's go through some of our cookbooks.
Plan some meals.
Because, we have really gotten off the recipe of the week train.
Yeah, we really have.
We really have. But also, we have some really great new cookbooks that we haven't really dived into yet.
Yeah.
And so I think that could maybe be a really good way to kind of tie all those things together.
Right.
Like being conscious of the budgeting and, how
food
many
waste.
Times are we shopping and food waste.
Yeah.
And knowing going in, these are the meals we're planning on making this week.
Yeah.
Let's get exactly what we need for those meals and not over purchasing.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I like it.
That's a good idea.
Cool.
And like Sam said, we don't have a recipe this week.
No, we don't.
Because we've just been off of that. I just been off of the whole doing recipes.
Yeah.
And I gotta get back on it.
Yeah.
So let's just jump into our noteworthy segment, because this is exciting stuff.
It really is.
Yeah. The National Dairy Farmers Association released an unofficial statement acknowledging that oat milk tastes better, foams better, and doesn't make people sick.
Go figure.
Yeah. And after hearing this amazing news, we put out the call to some local dairy farmers because we are in farmer country.
Sure are.
And we were surprised. A bunch of them called us back to respond. And so we're going to play those. We have their recorded voicemails. We're going to play those and then just discuss a little bit about each one.
Okay, sounds good.
So let's just play the first one. Okay, this first gentleman that called in is his name is Earl Thompson.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Thank you, Earl.
Earl Thompson here. I'm a former anti-oat activist. I ran a got milk billboard in my town for a decade. Told everyone oat milk was a fad. Well, it turns out I was wrong. My wife caught me sneaking an oat milk latte, and I had to admit, it's just smoother. If drinking oat milk is wrong, well, heck, I don't want to be right.
So Earl Thompson apparently used to pay for a got milk billboard in his town. That's pretty amazing.
That really is.
And he's convinced that oat milk is better.
Well, so has he since transformed the billboard into a pro-oat billboard?
I don't think we've gotten that far.
No,
it's
a shame.
We've gotten that far.
I think we should follow up. More research is required.
We'll follow up with her.
But hey, that's a great start.
Yeah. The next gentleman that left a voicemail for us is a guy by the name of Hank Moo Moo Wilson.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's what he goes by.
Moo Moo.
Yeah. So let's hear what Hank had to say.
Okay.
This is Hank Moo Moo Wilson. Look, I spent 40 years defending cow's milk. Even had a bumper sticker that said real dairy or bust. But one sip of oat milk, and it was like seeing the light. My grandkids drink it, my wife prefers it, and even my dog started stealing my cereal when I switched to it. That's how you know.
I think the funny thing about Hank's is that the dog was the convincing factor.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
Yeah, it's not about the kids or the wife. No, it's the dog who really tipped the scales on that one.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. I mean, that is interesting, though, because, again, we have to go back to that idea that humans are the only mammal who consume the milk of any animal after infancy.
Yeah.
And we are the only mammal that consumes the milk of another mammal.
Yeah.
And so maybe that cereal stealing dog knew where it was at. And he was like, you know what, dude, I'm finally going to convince you
that's
about
what he
the
said.
oat milk.
And that's what Hank said. That's how you know. It's better. That it's better. The dog liked it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Have we tried giving oat milk to the cats?
No, I haven't. Milk, I know at least dairy milk is not supposed to be good for
No,
cats.
it's not. But,
So, yeah. And Hank sounds like he's been around for a while.
Well, yes, he does.
So I think that's really impressive. Next up, we have a farmer by the name of Randy Heifer. Well, hey, with a name like that, what other business are you going to get into, right?
Yeah. It is kind of
Let's hear what Randy had to say.
Hi, I'm Randy Heifer. Listen, this is my first time calling in. Long time listener, first time caller. People don't get bloated from oats. It's time we just stop pretending. Oat milk is superior.
Well, that was shortened to the point.
It really was.
And yeah.
Apparently, the dairy bloat is of big concern.
Yeah. And I thought it was really funny how he said long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So, yeah, thanks, Randy, for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm not actually an oat milk drinker either. My preference for plant milk when I have it, which is very rare. I usually only have it with cereal because I'm not a coffee drinker.
Yeah.
I like either cashew milk because it's nice and creamy, or I do like chocolate soy milk or chocolate almond milk.
Chocolate soy milk is good.
Yeah, either of those really, really good.
Yeah.
And no, I find that there is no bloating effect as there would possibly have been with dairy milk. And so you, as a regular consumer of
I used to be
a
huge consumer of oat milk, but then I realized most of the oat milk I was drinking was not organic. And oats are, a heavily sprayed crop.
Yes, they are.
So I switched to almond milk. And Aldi's their store brand almond milk is organic.
Nice.
And it's very inexpensive.
Yep.
So, and it doesn't have a whole lot of stuff added to it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Soy milk is actually your best bet nutrition-wise, I think. And you can get, like, I think the Trader Joe's soy milk is simply soy and water.
Yeah.
There's no
Nothing extra
thickeners or anything like that added to it.
We'll have to check that out next time we're up there.
Yeah. The next voicemail that we got was from a guy by the name of Jed Buckley. So let's hear what Jed had to say.
Hello? This is Jed Buckley. I'm a third-generation dairy farmer. I spent my whole life milking cows, but I tried oat milk in my coffee last week, and dang it, it was just better. I couldn't lie to myself anymore. Bessie, my prize-winning cow, even gave me a look like, yeah, you know what's up.
You know, I can just see that look on Bessie's face.
The cow gave him a look.
I really can just see the look on
look
Bessie's
like,
face.
yeah, you know
like,
what's
you
up.
know what's up.
That's funny.
That is pretty funny.
Oh, my God. Okay, this next gentleman's name is Buck. And
this is an unusual number of dairy farmers.
Hey, I reached out to a ton of them, and I am so surprised that we got this kind of reaction.
Seriously?
Yeah. This is Buck Holstein. Let's hear what Buck had to say.
No. There is no way we had both a heifer and a Holstein.
That's what he said his name was. They may be using fake names.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
So,
Buck Holstein here. Look, we fight the good fight, but at some point, you gotta admit defeat. Oat milk just makes more sense.
Again, straight to the point.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's hard to argue with that, really.
Short and sweet, Buck. That's how I like it.
Yes. There are more?
We have two more.
I'm just amazed by this.
Yeah. This one came in from a gentleman by the name of Cletus O'Reilly. Let's hear what Cletus has to say.
Cletus O'Reilly here. Used to be, people would ask me what I do, and I'd say I milk cows. Now I just stir oats in water, and folks will pay double for it. Easiest money I ever made. Should have done this years ago.
Now, Cletus has a point, right? Cletus is getting right to the money thing.
Well, for sure.
That he can make more money on oat milk than he can make on dairy milk.
Well, yeah, everybody seems to try to make more money on plant milk than they do on dairy milk.
We're forever getting upcharged if you ask for plant milk, right? So
Yep.
That's good incentive, I think, for other farmers to make the switch, you know?
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's not something to be taken lightly. That's for sure.
We just have one more, and this one's a lady farmer.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah, this one comes from a farmer by the name of Linda Mayfield. Let's hear what Linda had to say.
Hello, this is Linda Mayfield. I'm a former dairy farm owner. I'm now an oat farmer. At first I thought, no way am I switching to farming oats, but when I realized I didn't have to wake up at 4 a.m. to milk them, I was sold. Plus, oats don't kick. My shins have never felt better.
Well, apparently Linda's cows kick.
Well, I mean, and can you blame them?
Yeah, I would kick
seriously.
Too, if I was
Absolutely.
If I was a dairy cow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So her shins are not taking as much abuse, which is that's great side effect of switching.
Good to hear. And, I'm hoping that with that, Linda's former dairy cows are now safely on a sanctuary somewhere and are also not feeling the pain of the dairy industry anymore.
Yeah. So I was so amazed at the response that we got from, I didn't think anybody was going to call us back. So,
seriously, it's almost unbelievable.
It is.
But what is not unbelievable is that Christine is the most ginormous dork on the planet.
What? Okay, in case you didn't guess, this whole segment is an April Fool's. You may have already been on to us. We never mentioned at the top of the show that this was going to drop on April Fool's Day. But I'm sure that you figured out a lot of those farmers were actually me. So.
Well, given that they all sounded exactly alike and suspiciously like Christine.
I thought I did a good job with some of them. I really tried to disguise my voice. Another thing you might have found interesting is that even though those farmers were supposedly from our area, they all had a Southern drawl for some reason.
Yes, they did not sound like Western New York farmers. This is true.
Apparently, they were all transplants from the southern states.
And so, to any of our listeners who are from the southern states, please let me apologize on behalf of my lovely wife for the unfortunate butchering
of your accents.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, we could be manifesting here, right?
Sure, why not?
Sure, it's an April Fool's joke, but let's manifest that.
I love it.
That the National Dairy Association, hello, that doesn't even exist, but that, that dairy farmers will see the light and see that they can not only not be harming animals and not be using up so many of our natural resources, not so much water, not so much land, but that they can actually probably make a better profit growing oats and selling them to an oat milk company.
Certainly.
Right?
It's certainly something worth investigating, I believe.
Yeah.
Certainly it would be better for the earth, better for the animals, better for people's health.
Yeah.
So while this was a silly prank, largely on Christine's part, I have to admit, I was a semi-reluctant participant.
Yeah, Sam's usually not so much for the pranky kind of stuff.
Oh, no. I don't mind pranks. I was just convinced that this had gone a little bit too far into the absurd to be even remotely believable.
Oh, come on. Even if people were onto it from the beginning, it was
still fun.
It was still a fun ride, right?
Yep, I will give you that.
Yeah. Hey, but some exciting news is we got a new sponsor. There's a company that is producing a show surrounding Whole Foods and shopping, and they reached out to us and asked us if we'd be willing to play their ads for, a fee. And of course we said yes. So
when did this happen?
Last week. I'll play the ad.
How did you not tell me about this?
Because it's a surprise.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be right back after this message. Welcome to the most intense survival challenge in vegan history. Contestants will be trapped inside a Whole Foods for an entire week. But there's a catch. They only get $5 to last the whole time. Who will thrive on free samples, and who will break down in the organic snack aisle? 12 contestants, 7 days, $5. Who will survive the ultimate vegan challenge? Find out on Survivor Whole Foods. I'm excited for that to air. I don't know about you, but that's something I would watch.
I have a feeling that's one that's probably going to get canceled in post.
Okay, so it's not a real ad, but in keeping with the April Fool's theme,
Christine's been having a little fun this week.
Somebody's trying to ruin my fun over here.
I am not trying to ruin your fun. I'm trying to egg you on a little bit. That's all.
Yeah. So, no, there isn't actually a Survivor Whole Foods, but
it's a fun concept.
It is a fun concept.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, $5 will not get you very far in Whole Foods.
That's what the joke.
I'm well aware that that's what the joke is. You do not have to explain.
Oh, anywho. We're going to move on to our main topic, which
is not
completely legit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. So from here on out, everything we discuss will be on the up and up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's this week's main topic. This week we're discussing Mexico and how they're leading the way in animal advocacy.
That's right. And this is coming from Vox.com. Mexico just put animal welfare into its national constitution. Now, to give you an idea, this did actually happen back in December. And so we are just absolutely thrilled that this is going on.
I love the president of Mexico.
I do too. She is fabulous.
Isn't she?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Absolutely love it.
So jealous.
Right? We have a bit of president envy.
A huge amount of president envy.
President envy.
Yeah.
On December 2nd, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum signed a set of constitutional reforms that will pave the way for a comprehensive federal animal welfare law. The changes represent the first ever mention of non-human animals in the Mexican Constitution, marking a milestone achievement for Mexico's animal rights movement, which has for years been drawing attention to pervasive animal cruelty and extreme confinement in the country's growing meat industry. This is huge, says Dulce Ramirez, Executive Director of Animal Equality Mexico and the Vice President of Animal Equality's Latin American operations. These constitutional changes come after 2 years of campaigning by animal advocacy organizations, including Igualdad Animal Mexico, Humane Society International Mexico, and Movimiento Conciencia.
Very good. Nice pronunciation.
Thank you. These reforms are internationally unique. While national animal protection laws aren't uncommon, most countries have no mention of animals in their constitutions. Constitutions are a reflection of socially where we are. Angela Fernandez, a law professor at the University of Toronto, told Vox, making any constitutional reform is symbolically a big deal. Beyond Mexico, 9 countries include references to animals in their constitutions, but those mentions have generally been brief and open to interpretation. Mexico is different, Kristen Stilt, faculty director at Harvard Law School's Animal Law and Policy program, told Vox. It's longer, it's more specific, it's in several provisions, and it's not just a general statement. Plenty of countries have laws against animal mistreatment, including the U.S., where all 50 states have an anti-cruelty law. But that doesn't mean they've been particularly effective at stopping violence against animals. Part of the problem is that these laws very often exempt farmed animals, such as cows, pigs, and chickens, thereby excluding from protection the overwhelming majority of animals that suffer at human hands. That's where Mexico's reforms stand out. They're intended to protect all animals, including farmed animals and other exploited species. The reforms in Mexico, the world's largest Spanish-speaking country, represent a major advancement in the status of animals globally. It could set a precedent for other countries in Latin America, where a vibrant animal rights movement has emerged in recent years, said Macarena Montes Franceschini, a fellow at Harvard Law School's Animal Law and Policy program. Still, as one of the world's top producers of beef, chicken, pork, dairy, and eggs, Mexico has an intensive animal agriculture industry, much like the United States, says Anton Aguilar, HSI Mexico's executive director. Business interests will undoubtedly want to influence the writing of animal welfare laws that could impact their bottom lines, as they have in the U.S. and elsewhere. The question now is what changes the constitutional reforms will really bring to animal law in Mexico and how effective they will be. So what will these reforms do? The reforms comprise changes to 3 separate articles of Mexico's constitution. The most foundational change amends the Constitution's Article 73, which dictates what Congress has the authority to legislate on. The article now gives the federal government the power to issue laws on animal welfare and protection. Previously, animal welfare was largely left up to local and state authorities, and the result has been uneven laws and enforcement across the country. While all states in Mexico have animal protection legislation, just 3 include farmed animals: Hidalgo, Colima, and as of last month, Oaxaca, following pressure from animal advocates. And though Mexico does have a federal law on animal health that focuses on farmed animals and includes some broad mentions of animal welfare, it was created to protect human health rather than animals. The same goes for Mexico's federal wildlife law, which was written with a focus on sustainability and conservation rather than on protecting individual animals from cruelty. Perhaps the most significant part of the reforms is an amendment to Article 4 of Mexico's Constitution, prohibiting the mistreatment of animals and directing the Mexican state to guarantee the protection, adequate treatment, and conservation and care of animals. The language is broad, Ramirez says, but she sees it as a substantial improvement over existing animal welfare laws. She and other advocates worked to ensure that no animals were excluded, particularly given that farmed animals have historically been left out of animal protection. It's really, really important in Mexico to start with this first step, but a big one, because now it's all animals that are covered, Ramirez said. The changes to Articles 4 and 73 tee up the creation of federal legislation on animal welfare. Under these reforms, Mexico's Congress has been directed to write a first-of-its-kind general law of animal welfare, care, and protection, a comprehensive bill that would address and develop regulations preventing the mistreatment of all types of animals, including farmed animals, wildlife, animals in laboratories, and companion animals, Aguilar said. This general animal welfare law will need to consider animals' nature, characteristics, and links with people, according to the reform decree released last week. What does this actually mean? Ramirez gave the example of chickens. Part of the natural behavior of these animals is to be able to spread their wings and move around. But if chickens are stuck in cages, as is standard practice on egg factory farms, they can't do either of those things. Now, the idea is to develop legal criteria that would consider the ability to express these natural behaviors as part of their welfare. The language could also be interpreted to prioritize human needs, however, particularly the reference to animals' links with people. Animal Equality said it would interpret this through an animal welfare lens and with the word link invoking what humans owe animals. Finally, Article 3 of Mexico's Constitution, which pertains to the education system, was also amended to require that animal welfare be included in school curricula for grade school and high school students. Aguilar said this change could help attitudes shift and change in very enduring long-term ways for future generations. But the new constitutional language is unspecific, and the devil is in the details.
Yeah, we know that with the laws that we have here in the U.S., like the cage-free and all that.
Absolutely.
Doesn't always mean that the animals are treated any better.
The terms cage-free and free-range are really nothing more than greenwashing.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that in Mexico, that I think the big thing is enforcement, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that in Mexico, the enforcement is better than what we have here in the States.
We can only hope.
Right? I mean, we don't have any constitutional protections for animals. So I'm hoping that these have a little bit more, that these laws have a little bit more teeth than ours do.
I hope so too. Well, so what's next for animal welfare in Mexico? Advocates have two focuses going forward, Ramirez and Aguilar said. Shaping the general animal welfare bill into a strong piece of legislation and working with the Ministry of Education to get meaningful implementation of animal welfare into the national curriculum. It will also be important for lawmakers working on the new animal welfare bill to avoid industry capture. Various stakeholders will want a say in what regulations go into the law, including academic experts, animal-related professions such as veterinarians, and powerful corporate interests like animal agriculture producers. When asked about what concerns she might have about the implementation of the reforms, Fernandez pointed first to the sway of business interests. Are there going to be generous justifications that maybe are very industry-dictated, she asked. Animal Equality also told Vox via email that there have been times when Mexican authorities have failed to issue legislation, even in situations like this where they've been tasked to do so. But the animal welfare movement has relationships across the political spectrum that will likely work to its advantage when proposing what goes into this law. Ramirez told Vox that Animal Equality Mexico works with both liberal and conservative parties to find agreement on animal rights. Despite political polarizations in Mexico, the animal welfare reforms went very swiftly through both chambers of the legislature, Aguilar said, passing unanimously in each. Just that is pretty incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it does kind of tell you that the animal agriculture doesn't have the grip on their politicians that it does here, in the States.
Yeah, so it seems that animal issues are issues where political forces in Mexico can find some common ground. The left-wing Morena party, of which recently elected Sheinbaum is a member, also holds a majority of seats in both of Mexico's legislative chambers. Before signing on to the constitutional reforms, Sheinbaum vocalized her support for them in her first address as the country's leader. But there's an internal challenge, too, according to Aguilar and Ramirez. Animal welfare organizations that cover different species and different aspects of animal welfare will need to work as a united front. Some groups' work focuses primarily on protections for farmed animals. Others focus on banning bullfighting and cockfighting, and some have their sights set on companion animals. It may be hard to settle on a proposal that works for everyone. Ensuring meaningful implementation and enforcement will also be key concerns. You can undercut obviously good language by poor enforcement. I think the worst thing that could happen is for this to just be a pretty provision in the Constitution and nothing else, Montez Franceschini said. Not seeing any change for the government, not to give resources to the agency that has to ensure animal protection, not having funding, not having staff, not teaching police officers how to act in case of animal mistreatment, I think that would worry me. The future of animal welfare will be decided in the global South, where meat consumption and American-style factory farming are growing rapidly. Animal welfare advocates in Mexico are entering new, more ambitious, potentially much more impactful territory, a testament to the movement's strength and political savvy. Other nations will be watching. It's going to get pretty interesting, Aguilar said. I'm optimistic that we will come up with good compromises that are good for animals.
So this is, in my opinion, good news. While there's the whole, welfare over liberation argument.
Sure.
We have to be realistic about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So until we can abolish factory farming,
yes,
welfare is important. It's super important.
Absolutely.
That we end the cruel practices that take place in most factory farms.
Yes.
So I'm really happy to see this. And like I said, I love the Mexican president.
I do too.
She's an amazing woman.
She is.
But the cool thing is that it seems like there's this kind of snowball effect happening in Mexico as far as animal rights and animal welfare goes. And recently there's been, and this has been, a long time coming. Animal advocates have been fighting for this for a really long time. And they're making a change. They're making a difference because Mexico City has introduced bloodless bullfighting in a huge win for animal rights in Mexico.
Yes. So Mexico City's Congress has voted to ban traditional bullfights and replace them with a new form of bloodless spectacle, marking the latest episode in a years-long legal battle to outlaw the practice in the capital. Animal rights activists celebrated the move on Tuesday, even if it wasn't the total ban on bullfighting they had been pushing for.
It's a step in the right direction, right?
It is, but it doesn't mean that there is not still suffering.
Oh, no. Yes. Not at all.
Bulls will no longer be subjected to the brutal cruelty of being repeatedly stabbed and ultimately killed in the ring, which is something we welcome, said Anton Aguilar, executive director of Humane World for Animals Mexico, while noting that a bull event without violence does not mean one without suffering. Mexico City's bullfighting ring, Plaza Mexico, which with 42,000 seats is the biggest in the world, will in theory still hold bullfights, only without violence. Whereas a traditional bullfight involves an array of lances, barbed spears, and a slender sword for the killing blow, these new events will only allow the matadors to use the capes with which they draw the bulls to charge them. The bull's horns will also be protected to prevent harm to the matador or other animals. The bloodless bullfights will be limited to 15 minutes, after which time the bulls will be sent back to their owners and ranches. It is now forbidden for them to die, either inside or outside the ring. The change stemmed from a citizens' initiative which first proposed a total ban, only for the head of the Mexico City government, Clara Brugada, to modify it and introduce the concept of nonviolent bullfights. Brugada suggested that the move would allow them to retain the economic activity around bullfighting. Proponents claim the industry supports tens of thousands of jobs. The spectacle of blood cannot be justified under any concept of art and tradition, said Brugada. Some will argue that it is part of tradition and culture, but culture, music, and art, even rights, change, evolve, transform. We big cities are obliged to transform at the same time. Animal welfare is a right and a duty for society. Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum, also spoke in support of the initiative. The bullfighting industry rejected the new regulation and said they had not been consulted on it. At a press conference, Salvador Arias, a lawyer from Tauromaquia Mexicana, an organization that defends bullfighting, said Brugada's proposal for bloodless bullfights resembled one that was tried and failed in the Balearic Islands in Spain, where it won little interest from fans and was eventually thrown out by a Spanish court. Indeed, animal rights groups are counting on that lack of interest. In a statement, Culture Without Torture regretted that the ban was not total, but added that, in practice, we doubt that the proposed events will take place, since what fans of bullfighting truly want to see is blood.
While these laws are still allowing the exploitation of the bulls, I think they're right. I think that excitement will wane.
I think so too.
And eventually it won't be profitable.
Yes.
Anymore. And as long as the laws stand, it could pave the way to the complete abolishment of bullfighting. So.
And that's definitely, I think, something to be hoped for.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I don't wish for tens of thousands of people to lose their jobs.
No, but
definitely not. But perhaps there can be another use for those stadiums. There can be another type of entertainment that would be just as attractive to people. Yeah. That does not involve the exploitation and torture of animals.
And I like how the article mentioned, I don't remember who quoted it, but while people will defend bullfighting as a representation of their culture, of the Spanish culture, that things change, traditions change. Look,
yes, indeed.
we don't have chariot races anymore.
Not so much.
We don't have men fighting lions anymore for entertainment.
No,
it's things we have to evolve.
That's right. There are no longer public beheadings.
Right. We have to evolve.
I agree.
And just because something's been done for a really long time and is considered a tradition in your culture doesn't make it right.
That's right.
Right?
Yes, well said.
Good news coming out of Mexico, and I think I like how they're leading the way. Mm-hmm. I really do. I hope that more governments follow their lead.
Yes.
On all of this, and I don't have a lot of hope for our government, but I can
certainly not at the moment.
At this point, I like looking to other governments to see the good things that they're doing.
Yeah.
For good news.
Yes. That does provide a bit of hope. It's true.
Yeah. That takes us to our assignment Restaurant SOS.
This week, Restaurant SOS features Delice Sarrasin. Another New York City vegan spot is in trouble. Delice Sarrasin is a vegan restaurant specializing in vegan French cuisine. Like many other small establishments, the Manhattan Eatery has been struggling to keep the doors open since the 2019 COVID pandemic. We'll link to their GoFundMe in the show notes of this episode if you'd like to help them out.
But in the meantime, let's take a look at their menu because I've already looked at it a little. And
look at this.
Their food looks exquisite. And if you like French cuisine and you are vegan, or even if you're not vegan, their food sounds fantastic.
Okay, now I know I've said many, many times that I haven't really delved very far into the realm of vegan sea life,
air quote,
based food.
Yeah.
Yes. But this verrine de salmon, it's a layered salmon with creamy avocado and garlic cheese. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a tofu salmon or what.
I don't know either. And hey, they've got a soup à l'oignon gratiné, which French onion soup.
Yeah.
One of my pre-vegan favorites, actually.
Yeah.
That I have not had in forever. That sounds so good.
Yeah. They have vegan escargot.
Yes, they do.
It's made out of oyster mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a parsley garlic butter.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good.
I mean, the carrot soup with pink lentils and garlic butter. I mean,
they have, of course, vegan egg. Why don't French people want 2 eggs when they order?
Because in France, 1 egg is an œuf.
That's one of my favorite French jokes. 1 egg is an œuf. So anyway, I'm not pronouncing all of these things because my French pronunciation is terrible. But Sam's French pronunciation, I can't even say pronunciation. Sam's French pronunciation is fantastic. So
It's not bad. It
I
can
mean,
be
she
better, but
speaks
it's
a
not
little
bad.
French.
A
So
little French.
what are the main courses? Tornados Rossini.
Tornados Rossini, that's correct. And the Tornados Rossini are a tender steak fillet topped with foie gras and served with a truffle wine-infused sauce and fresh-shaved black truffle.
That sounds so rich.
It does.
But a vegan steak and a vegan foie gras.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm really finding myself drawn to the cassoulet toulousain.
Cassoulet connaissant.
Cute. Hearty white bean slow-cooked casserole with tender seared duck patty, Toulouse
Duck in
sausage,
quotes. Duck in
onions, carrots, and tomatoes. That sounds fantastic. You also really can't go wrong with a good salade niçoise. So arugula, tomatoes, cucumbers, fava beans, 3 colors of peppers, black olives, onions, garlic, basil, tuna, balsamic olive oil, served with boiled vegan egg.
And they have a lot of your like French staples. Like they have a coq au vin, they have a ratatouille, niçoise.
Yeah, ratatouille niçoise. Yep, which is a vegetable stew made with eggplant, tomato, zucchini, peppers, onions, garlic, and olive oil, which sounds fantastic. Oh my gosh. Coquille Saint-Jacques, pan-seared seaweed scallops on top of sautéed spinach.
Yeah.
I may have just found my meal. Wow.
Yeah, we definitely have to check this place out the next time we're in New
really
York.
do.
And I'm hoping they're still there when we go. Again, like I said, we will link to their GoFundMe. And
They have an
it's been pretty
entire-
successful so far. So if you would like to, if you can't get there to get a meal, definitely, if you can, give to their GoFundMe.
Oh my. They have an entire section of gourmet crepes.
Yeah.
Crêpe gourmande. Personally, I'm thinking the Francinette sounds really good. Strawberries, melted dark chocolate, and coconut whipped cream. Ugh, amazing.
Yeah, they have an entire menu of savory crepe dishes and then a menu of sweet crepe dishes.
Awesome. And then a nice line. I mean, I personally would not be imbibing, but if you're interested, they have a nice 100% vegan wine list, which is lovely. Of course, coffee, tea, other beverages. Love it.
Their prices, while they reflect a fine dining for sure,
Certainly.
are not insane.
No.
They're not insane. Like their main courses, their entrees, they run between $25 and $26. So
Yeah. With
That-
the exception of the Tornados Rossini, which is $35. So that's on the top end.
right. So yeah. So if you're on a first date and somebody else is paying, get that.
So this would certainly be a splurge.
Oh.
There's no question.
Yeah, most definitely a splurge.
Yeah,
But
this is a special occasion. This is not your everyday fare.
Yeah.
But it sounds absolutely spectacular.
so if you're in the New York City area, please support them.
Yes. Again, that's Delice Sarrasin. Delice Sarrasin is located at 178 West Houston Street, and you're going to use the entrance on Bedford. That's in New York, New York.
Another true Restaurant SOS.
Mm-hmm.
We hate to see it.
We do. We do.
Yeah.
And this is like one of those things that makes me wish we lived just a little closer to New York City.
I know.
So we could get there and support them,
I know.
more economically. Takes
Yeah.
us 8 hours to get to New York, no matter how we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But next time we go, we're definitely looking this place up.
Oh, absolutely. Now, if you have recently been to Delice Sarrasin and you support them, email us a recent photo of your meal, not just to enter you in the gift card drawing, but because we want to see it.
Exactly.
Because there were no pictures on the menu, and we really want to see this
Yeah.
food.
Well, I mean, go out to their Instagram. They have pictures.
Oh, okay.
And the food is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, if you support them, if you have been there recently, email us a recent photo of your meal, tell us what it is, and we will enter you in a drawing for a gift card. And that drawing will take place next week
I know.
because
it's
we've
coming.
reached the end of the month.
We have reached the end of the month. Yeah. So get your, if you have eaten at any of our Restaurant SOS restaurants for the month of March, get your photos in. We do have a couple of entries, but get your photos in so you have a week to get in those pictures and let us know what your meal was and all that jazz.
That's right.
Yeah. Now it's time for our favorite portion of the show.
Must be listener shout out time.
It's listener shout out.
Just want to give a shout out to all my fans watching. I love you guys. I love you.
This week's listener shout out goes to Dave Grover.
Hey, Dave.
Dave was a contestant in our last vegan trivia event, and we want to thank you so, so much for playing, David.
Thanks for playing, Dave, and thanks for listening to the show. Send us your name, we have your name. You don't have to send us that, but send us your t-shirt size and address so we can send you a Compassion and Cucumbers swag bag. You can either text us that using the link in our show notes. You can email us at compassionandcucumbers@gmail.com, or you can simply DM us on Instagram or Facebook.
And for the rest of you out there, if you want a listener shout out, please email, text, or DM us. Let us know what you think of the show and tell us a little bit about yourself. You can also always nominate someone else for a shout out.
You can. And our shout out list is getting dangerously low again.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And I hate it when this happens.
I know you do.
But I got to put the call out. If you're listening and you haven't sent in an email telling us that you listen to the show and that you'd like a shout out, you need to do that because my list is running low.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not that much to ask. And the only reason we're asking is because we want to shout you out and send you free stuff.
I do. I just want to celebrate people that, support us
yes,
and listen to the show.
Thank you.
We do.
Yeah. Thank you for giving us your time and attention and all of that good stuff. So,
yeah. And you get t-shirts, stickers, buttons, and sometimes I include some other fun stuff.
There you go.
So I guess that means it's time to wrap this baby up. But before we go, don't forget, subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Subscribe to our YouTube. Leave us a review and a rating if you can. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell anybody that you think will enjoy our show and what we talk about. Because, that's word of mouth is the best way for us to reach people.
It really is.
And if you want to get news about the show, you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter at our website, which is compassionandcucumbers.com.
And I can tell you, I know this is way overdue, but the website will get an update. We now have some confirmation of events that we'll be doing in the upcoming VegFest season. So we will do our due diligence to get those up there ASAP.
Yeah, we will.
And with that, it's time to sign off. You have just listened to episode 178 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, and there's nothing left to say but where cukes and compassion are always the fashion.
On the podcast. Thanks, James.
Have a great week, everyone.
We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
We love you.
We do. Happy April Fools. Bye-bye.
The end.
If you'd like to support the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, well, you can do that by hopping on over to our Patreon page and becoming a patron. We have all the recipes from our vegan kitchen series up there, and we'll be adding some patron-only episodes in the near future. So thank you for supporting us at whatever level that you choose, and thank you again for listening to Compassion and Cucumbers podcast.